You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Opeyemi Agbaje. Today I talk about the media, its leadership, its role, its performance. I have the benefit of the perspective of one of his very senior leaders. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back to the Policy Council. My guest today is a reputable and very senior journalist, the General Manager, Publications and Editor-in-Chief of Vanguard Newspapers, a former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, and somebody who has been an editor for so many years, Mr. Gbenga Adefaye. You're welcome to the Policy Council.
Thank you and good morning.
Morning. So let me start with your tenure as president of the Guild of Editors. Let me ask a question. First, who qualifies to be a member of the Guild of Editors? So how is it different from the Union of Journalists?
Thank you very much. The Nigerian Union of Journalists is a trade union.
Okay.
It's for every journalist. It used to be compulsory for every journalist to be a member, but I think there was a little amendment sometime. You may elect not to be a member.
Okay.
It's practically a trade union movement. But the Nigerian Guild of Editors is the leadership group,
Okay.
the professional leadership group of the media. It used to be, originally it was a newspaper thing when Alhaji Jakonde and his colleagues set it up in 1962. But over time, because of the evolving nature of the profession, other practitioners were admitted. It is a membership club. It's run through a constitution, so you must meet the requirements as specified in the constitution. I can't remember all the details now,
Yes, of course.
but I do know that you must have signed a title. I think the last constitution that was done in my time, if you are a member of editorial board, you can also be a member of the guild.
Okay.
I think the deputy editors were also accepted as associate member.
Okay.
And of course, that's about it in general. But it's a membership club. If you do not subscribe to it, you cannot be a member.
Okay.
It used to be very, very conservative. We tried to liberalize it, open it up to admit as many people as can be accommodated without losing the essence of the association.
So the essence is to provide direction or?
The mandate is very clear. First thing is to promote the integrity of the profession, to try and open the frontiers of free speech and integrity of the press, largely. So apart from looking at the principles, we also used to do a lot of trainings because there's skill gap everywhere here now in the country, and that was a very, very important aspect of the mandate. But essentially, we judge the guild, the leadership, not so much by the material things, but how you manage to project the profession and the leadership and the practitioners. So you have the owners of the business.
That's the newspaper proprietors
or bond.
Okay.
Then you have the professional leadership, and then you have the trade union.
Okay. Now, under the military, we used to worry about free speech. But our worry was typically that the military were going to throw a journalist into prison, enact Decree 4, or proscribe a newspaper. We don't seem to have those kind of worries anymore. But yet, would you, in your opinion, is there free speech? Let me start from there before I ask you my next question.
Of course, there is. There is, particularly now, with the very, very positive invasion of new media.
Okay.
Even if you want to shut the door, the invasive media will get access into wherever you are. And because of that, even the traditional practitioners who used to work on the newspapers or the broadcast media are now in competition even with the people on social media. Yeah. So to a large extent, yes, the frontiers of free speech have been greatly extended.
Let me ask you my question. There's a hypothesis I'm testing, and you'll be a good person to test it with. So yes, we don't have forceful circumscription
We still have.
of speech.
No, we still have.
We still have.
Not long ago, some fellows in uniform tried to seize newspapers.
Yes,
It was
that's
a
true.
major error,
Yeah.
and which we intend to stop by all means legitimately.
Legitimately.
We are talking, because we thought we should actually take them to court
Okay.
and get the court of law to punish them.
Okay.
But, it's
But
not only
how
that.
about the proscription, which is my bigger worry? How about circumscribing free speech through economic means, which I think is the bigger challenge today? So, for instance, and it's a hypothesis, I want to take your opinion. So, for instance, the newspaper can only be owned by, in Nigeria's contemporary times, you must be a billionaire to own a newspaper,
Not necessarily.
minus online media.
Not necessarily.
Okay? Okay, but you must be substantially wealthy.
You must have enough resources to prove the concept.
Okay?
Whether to be extremely wealthy, no. The newspaper is not the factory.
Hmm.
No.
Okay. It's the content.
It's the brand name.
Okay.
We've had people here who set up big presses that didn't survive. The wear and tear would take care of the press. But when you have a great brand name, great brand equity, you are there for all time. In fact, some of the most successful newspapers there, if you go back, really do not have much to talk about in terms of those large, massive investments. So it's the idea really that is in it.
And the integrity of the newspaper. Okay, I'm talking to a senior journalist, like I said, an editor of editors. We'll be right back. You're welcome back to my conversation with Mr. Gbenga Adefaye. He's the former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors and editor-in-chief of Vanguard newspaper. So, Mr. Adefaye, let me ask you, from your tenure as NG president, what do you think were the biggest, your biggest concerns, the biggest issues facing the media that you dealt with as president of the Guild of Editors?
Two quick things within the mandate. The first for me, what I consider the greatest achievement was fighting off the secret move, the funny move by the state to sneak in a law to take us back to the military era.
In terms of registration?
Yeah, registration and all of that. Unfortunately, it almost cost me my friendship with my dear sister, Abike Dabiri, who was the one who was supposed to push the law. Clearly, it wasn't a woman project. I believe she meant well, because if you look at the other content of the law, she was talking about welfare and all of that. But the fundamentals would have worked against the interests of the press. So we were able to mobilize the editors, and we were able to shoot down the law. That, to me, contrary to what people think, in my view, I would consider the biggest achievement. But we're also lucky in our tenure, because, like I said earlier, a lot of emphasis on training. And we're significantly concerned enough as to be able to forge a relationship with. We started talking with Lagos Business School.
Okay.
We started speaking with Dr. Kolade, who referred us to the VC, Joan Lehido, who then referred us back to
the School of Media and Communications.
And we were able to set up a center, which was Center for Leadership and Training in Journalism, Pledge. Of which the director is my friend, what's his name now? From our Daily Times man.
Yes, I remember. I remember his name.
Yes, that to me is a major achievement, because
Richard
Ikebe. Because we thought we should do something on a sustainable basis, something that will outlive us, and we needed a credible platform to host it and to run it when we've gone, and we believe it will run. Okay. Those to me were the biggest achievement.
Was the freedom of information not passed in your tenure?
That will go with, that we'll take that together with that particular shooting down the law. In actual fact, it was passed in our tenure, and there's an interesting story to it. Everybody believed that the Freedom of Information Bill will not be passed.
I did. I went on record to say
we have fought for 10 years, abusing each other. But when we came on board, we said, look, let's change strategy. Let's talk to these people. And first of all, we went on advocacy visit to the Senate President. He said, well, Gbenga, welcome, I know you. If it's people like you we will not have problem, but we are afraid of the other people. We'll see what we do, go ahead and continue to advocacy work. We say, okay, so we went back. And then we chanced on Dimeji Bankole, the then speaker, who happened to have become a very, very close friend of mine. And I said to him, I was in his company with another editor, Sheyi Fasuga. I said, look, you can do something for all of us. And to stand to your credit forever, we can actually pass this bill, you know. I said, look, yes, see, we don't mind passing the bill. We actually think that we need the bill more than you do as journalists, than every Nigerian does. But we are afraid of all sorts of people who claim to be journalists. Believe you me, on Wednesday, when the major came back, the clean copy of the bill was ready for deliberation on the floor of the House. It was like magic.
And it was passed that day?
It was passed. They went to second reading, third reading, it was passed. So, of course, the MPA and then had a 6-man committee, went to meet the Senate President, I think Sam Amuka, Smala Funtua, Ndoka Irabo, Kabiru Yusuf, about 6 of them, I can't remember the other 4 people. Of course, that was already done. Incidentally, while the President, Dr. Jonathan, was campaigning, I was on his one-man interactive panel.
I remember that.
Yes. And one question that was put to him publicly was to say, what will you do with Freedom of Information Bill? And he made a public commitment to sign it.
He said if it is presented to him, he will sign it.
Of course, the assumption of everybody was that.
Well, I was not going to be presented to
never
him.
passed the House of Rep because of the size, because of the number, because of the express interest. So as it happened, it passed the House of Rep, passed the Senate, and went to the President. He was gracious enough to sign. We consider it a major achievement. But even at that, even if you are part of the Freedom of Information Bill into the law and signed into law, and you have some other funny laws creeping in from behind, could have made nonsense of the law. So we consider the FOI a great achievement. We hope Nigerians will use it. It is not
That's
a,
my question,
it's not a
Mr.
press
Adefaye.
law. It's not a press law. It is a Nigerian law. It is for you and I. It is for the man on the street. It's for the man in the village to ask his rep or the assemblyman how much was allocated to our constituency last year. What did you do with it? But unfortunately, I do not think we are there yet. We have the law in our books.
Okay, you have answered my question.
I do not think we are there yet, all of us, in terms of awareness, in terms of engagement of the civil society and all of that.
Okay, let's take another time out. We're hearing the story, the facts behind the Freedom of Information Act from Mr. Gbenga Adefaye. We'll be right back.
My name is Femi Durojai. Welcome to the new Lagos, where things are improving every day. I work on the island and live on the mainland. But that's no longer a problem. With improved roads, I get to work faster. Sometimes I even leave my car and use the BRT bus, which is comfortable, fast, efficient, and reliable. After a hard day's work, the nights and evenings are even more fun. The streets are better lit, and the city is more secure. So I can catch my phone in peace. I pay my taxes because I want to continue enjoying the good things a big modern city like our Lagos brings. So it's my taxes that makes them real. Have you paid your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and we're still talking media with Mr. Gbenga Adefaye, who is very well placed to discuss it. So let me ask you, Gbenga, what's your view? What's your assessment of the state of the media? Compare it with when you joined the media maybe 3 decades or so ago, and today. What's your view? Have we made progress, and in what areas?
Tremendous progress. In terms of quality, despite what people say, I think it is still even a higher quality because the quality of information in public domain is better, is superior.
Yes.
When I started off, we had to wait on wire agencies. If they don't come, you don't get stories. Telecom was poorly. In the whole of Vanguard, we had just one telephone line, which was epileptic, and all of that. You have to travel go about the whole of Lagos through public transport and all of that. But today, it is instant communication. There will be a lot of progress made. However, because of the openness, because of the near license that we now have, there's a need for all of us to apply a lot more introspection into what we put in public domain. People should double check, be sure it is true, be sure it is the fact, be sure it is fair, and also think of the larger public interest. Because like my publisher, Uncle Sam, used to say, or he says, editing is actually knowing what not to publish. That is the social responsibility part of it. But by and large, I think the media has made tremendous progress. It used to be a black and white paper printing on block in the dark room and all of that. Today, our newspapers are printed as competitive as you find in any part of the world.
How about the economics of the Nigerian newspaper now, industry? It still looks problematic.
It is very tough doing newspaper business here because of the freedom of choice. It's a near absolute marketplace experience, free market experience. Yeah. If you're good, maybe that's not a fair description. If you are the preferred brand, if you have established the credibility, and if you are the trusted platform, it's like running the best commercial bank. But if you have problem with your brand acceptability, you are pouring millions into a black hole. Into a black hole. Unfortunately, also because of the availability of technology, the handheld and all of that, a lot of people who would have bought newspapers
now read on their phones.
Read on their phones. And the business of the newspaper today really is advertising business. It is not so much, for every full page of newspaper that you see, it is huge cost. For me now, as a business manager, as well as a journalist, the first thing I look at in the morning is how much money has come in. I can't remember pages, because I need to sell about 3,500 copies of Vanguard for a full page of advertisement. And that is very tough in that business environment. But once you are already an accepted brand, you manage to get along. It's tough because, again, the personnel that you now put to job are a lot more expensive to keep. They are very educated, and they don't see journalism job as a job for the dropout. The guy in the newsroom is seeing his colleague.
It could be a banker
who is in the bank. He's seeing his colleague who is in the government office. He's seeing his colleague who is in the university. So he wants to be well paid also. He wants to dress well. He doesn't want to wear Tata shirts, and he wants to ride a good car. So if you cannot give him the platform to achieve those personal fulfillment, they will not stay. So you spend a lot of money paying for quality staff, and even the quality staff, unfortunately, are really very scarce, very unavailable. And that is the challenge.
But one thing that you've said gives rise to another concern. So it's the advertiser essentially is the most powerful person in this space. And therefore, so for instance, I don't want to mention names.
That's qualified.
How?
Because it really cannot shut you out if you are the right platform.
Okay. But we know of a newspaper.
There are some of us who do media advice for your friends. You say, put ABC, and they said, no, please put it on this platform for me. Because
of the reach and the credibility. Yeah. So what would you say if a good paper that everybody acknowledged appeared to be qualitative fails within a year or two, essentially because it couldn't get advertisements?
What was the business plan?
Okay, it's a business model failure.
Yeah, business concept. Look, I met you in the business school, one of my instructors. And I keep telling the people 2 things I took away from Lagos Business School. And I've since gone to Harvard twice since then. 2 things I took away from business school. The macroeconomic environment, will clearly determine what happens to the micro, whatever you are doing within there. So if you do not clearly understand your business environment, forget all the other talks and your theories to work.
Excellent. Let's take our final time out. I'm having this insightful discussion with one of Nigeria's leading journalists, Mr. Gbenga Adefaye. We'll be right back. You're welcome to my last segment with Mr. Gbenga Adefaye, Editor-in-Chief of Vanguard and General Manager in charge of all their publications, and of course, a former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. So, I know that you also sit on the Governing Council of the University of Lagos.
That's true.
When has the Maulag concept been abandoned? Is it going to become, or what's the status of that issue? Has that idea of Moshood Abiola University been jettisoned?
Thank you very much. For now, we know that we have a few cases in court, but we also know that it was a political thing, and we believe the president may have politically resolved it. Okay. For now,
you are Unilag.
We are Unilag.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about politics. You've told us it was a political thing, and the media in the context of the political environment, especially this journey to 2015. I know that's probably one of the most challenging times for journalists, maintaining some level of independence or even ethics, because then there are a lot of issues, there's tension. And how do you think, first for you personally, as an observer of the politics of 2015, what do you think, and these are your personal opinions, what do you think we should be watching out for?
I'm not expecting earth shakers. I think we will pass through, because I think the Nigerian state is still evolving. We are not going to have a revolution. Some persons will just perform according to our expectations, because we are still a country of more than 160 million people. We still see ourselves in terms of tribes. Stupidly, we have brought religion to the fore. Economics, policies are not what are discussed by politicians. All they bring to the table are the divisive forces. So ethnic, religion, and all those nonsense. For me, and I've been privileged to move around this country, the poor urchin, street urchin in Taraba is the same as the one in Moro or Ile-Ife or Nobubra. It doesn't matter if there's no potable water, there's no potable water. If there's no good education, there's no good education. If there is no good road, good infrastructure, there is none. Unfortunately, our politicians can do better in that regard. They are not doing that because a lot of self-interest, themselves first and we last. But I think we will have a successful 2015. I do not believe that the doomsday prediction will come to pass. I think Nigeria will remain one, and I think we will be stronger. Because for me, best case, worst case scenario, Dr. Ebele Goodluck Jonathan will do another 4 years, and life will go on. If the other guys are able to put their acts together, and I do pray that they are able to put their acts together, then they will have the quality of governance. If they don't, if they win, good, very good. If they don't, at least those in government will be more conscious of the fact that they are supposed to be serving the people, not serving themselves. For us in the media, our responsibility is to hold these people's feet to fire. Fire. Ask them. Our concern is not about your religion, especially from this part of the world where I come from. I don't give a damn. I'm a Roman Catholic. My wife is not. My children are Roman Catholic until they are 18. After 18, they are free to go to wherever they want to go. But we want good education, infrastructure, good quality healthcare delivery system, and all of that. If we do that, and we in the media, we then hold them accountable, insisting on how much is our money that we have, that is your possession, how have you disbursed the money, and we begin to ask questions. Yes, we know the last time when you were getting to this office, You are living in a 4-bedroom apartment somewhere in Aurelia Gege. Suddenly you have a duplex on Banana Island. You need to tell us where you got the money from. And that's where I think really we need to encourage our anti-corruption agencies to do their job according to the law, not according to what the politicians have told them. To just ask questions on our behalf and then cause these people to be restrained in what they do, in the way they take our money, in the way they apply our resources, so that there'll be a tomorrow for you and I, for our children. Because if some guys just take all the money up there, all of us will not be able to live in this town. The disgruntled, angry, hungry people, they will smash your car on the road when you are going back home in the evening. They will knock your door and pillage your house, rape your wife, and all sorts of criminality. But I'm very optimistic about 2015. I do not think Nigeria will come to grief.
Thank you very much, Gbenga Adefaye.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back. The media is one of the most important institutions in a modern society. And the Nigerian media has, as my guest affirmed, played its part in the development of this society. But it has great challenges ahead, especially in the context of a difficult and complex march towards 2015. I believe, like my guest, that our media will be up to the task and that the nation will acquit itself well through its challenges. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.